A lot of boxers don't do this. This is why Canelo's not fighting Benavidez. Why? Why would Canelo fight Benavidez, who's relatively unknown, and Benavidez beats him, and Benavidez becomes overnight a superstar? That Canelo's letting Benavidez make a name off of him.
Wait, so you're saying that you're gonna make it more up to me? Like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo a hell of a fighter, but my personal, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, this is my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's what it is. We want to see Benavidez.
David Benavidez is not pulling any punches following Canelo Alvarez's defeat to Terence Crawford. The undefeated super middleweight contender is cranking up the pressure, boldly suggesting that Canelo lacks the bravery to face him inside the ring.
Why can you not give us Canelo Benavidez? Why? Canelo, why? I do not understand it. You're demanding $200 million? Like, come on, dude. Basically, Canelo doesn't want to give us the good fight. Imagine if Canelo and Benavidez gets made. That's the Super Bowl of boxing. Boxing is on the rise. Canelo, don't screw it up for us. I thought I would never say this, but Canelo's scared. Literally, I thought I would, as a fighter, I know fighters are not scared. But wow, we've been begging Canelo.
Saul Canelo Alvarez made the decision to pass on a showdown with David Benavidez, reportedly brushing off his style while keeping his attention fixed on the massive payday tied to that matchup. Veteran trainer Ronnie Shields had already made a bold prediction ahead of the Terence Crawford fight, confidently stating that Crawford would come out on top, and he hasn't backed away from that claim. After the fight, Shields explained his reasoning, saying he always believed Crawford's movement, combined with his ability to switch effortlessly between orthodox and southpaw stances, would create serious challenges for Canelo Alvarez. He highlighted how Crawford's constant adjustments, stepping in, drifting back, and controlling distance, gradually exposed weaknesses in Canelo Alvarez's defense, giving him the openings needed to take over the fight.
A unanimous decision. We got that. I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. The end is there for Canelo. And I just think that Crawford was too fast for him, especially in the southpaw position. We all know Canelo have problems with the southpaw. So, and that's why I picked Crawford. I just thought Crawford could be.
Veteran trainer Ronnie Shields gave full credit to Terence Crawford for executing a near-flawless game plan, remaining composed in high-pressure moments, choosing his shots carefully, and taking advantage of every error Canelo Alvarez made. In Shields' view, it was a brilliant display of ring intelligence and disciplined strategy, exactly the kind of performance he anticipated before the fight. He even hinted that Canelo Alvarez may need to start considering retirement, pointing out that years of facing top-tier opponents appear to have taken a noticeable toll on him. Meanwhile, Oscar de la Hoya offered a more measured take. He stressed that the final decision rests entirely with Canelo Alvarez. If he believes he has accomplished everything he set out to achieve, then stepping away would be understandable, but he needs to be wise when selecting future opponents. De la Hoya also spoke highly of Terence Crawford, describing him as a rare talent with the ability to break down styles and respond with pinpoint accuracy. From his perspective, the performance was impressive in every sense, showcasing Crawford's calm and calculated approach. He concluded by saying the fight served as another clear example of why Crawford is considered one of the smartest and most adaptable fighters in the sport today.
Crawford is older than Canelo, so we can't use the excuse that he's older, right? We can't use the excuse that, oh, well, he's moved around too much. Well, it's your job to figure him out, right? Just like Chavez would figure out a fighter, just like I would figure out a fighter, just like any real great fighter can figure styles out. That's your job. I think Crawford did a tremendous job. Kudos to him. Sky's the limit for Crawford.
Oscar de la Hoya, the former champion turned promoter, continued the discussion by sharing his thoughts on what lies ahead after Canelo Alvarez's defining defeat. He also analyzed Terence Crawford's next move, pointing to the confidence pushing him toward even greater challenges. De la Hoya noted that Crawford appears fully settled at super middleweight, with no strong reason to return to 154. Still, he added that a major opportunity could persuade him to consider a shift to 160 pounds. In his opinion, the most thrilling option on the table would be a clash with rising star Virgil Ortiz, a fight he believes would guarantee non-stop intensity, dramatic moments, and the kind of excitement that fits perfectly with Crawford's current position in the sport.
When Crawford at 160, imagine that. Would be incredible. So there's a good possibility that Crawford will stay at 168. Most likely go down to 160. I don't think he's gonna touch 154. I think he'll stay at 160 eventually, and try to find the biggest fights possible. And the biggest fight for him would be
Terrence "Bud" Crawford's performance in the September 13th main event against Canelo Alvarez also drew strong praise from Rolly Romero. He pointed out that defeating Canelo Alvarez requires something truly extraordinary, and Crawford showed he has exactly that kind of ability. According to Romero, the opening rounds were closely contested, with Canelo Alvarez applying pressure and keeping the action competitive. However, as the fight progressed, he noticed Crawford gradually take control, dictating the tempo, landing the sharper shots, and piling up rounds in convincing fashion. He highlighted that Bud's skill in making adjustments on the fly against an elite opponent is a big reason he's now being placed in conversations about the all-time greats. Romero described it as a remarkable accomplishment, something that almost doesn't feel real to watch.
That performance did something really special for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot more special than what probably anyone else is probably thinking, honestly. I didn't expect Crawford to be that big.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't expect Crawford to be that big, but I mean, Canelo did good the first few rounds, you know, first like all the way up like to round 4, and then that's when Crawford took over, you know. So I mean, the second half of the fight though, it was all Crawford. There was no question.
Terrence "Bud" Crawford is now facing questions about whether he's willing to step in with David Benavidez, a narrative that mirrors what many previously said about Canelo Alvarez. Crawford climbed to the top by defeating Canelo Alvarez, capturing his titles and shifting the landscape of the division. Now, in the aftermath of that defeat, David Benavidez is setting his demands, pushing for what he calls the ultimate Mexican showdown with Canelo Alvarez. At the same time, a former world champion has gone as far as suggesting that Canelo Alvarez may need to think seriously about retirement. The conversation doesn't stop there. Some fans believe Crawford might share that same hesitation when it comes to Benavidez, even after building his reputation by overcoming Canelo Alvarez on the biggest stage. Across major Instagram pages, the debate continues to gain traction, with many highlighting Benavidez's imposing size and physical presence. Still, Crawford hasn't completely dismissed the idea. He has previously mentioned that size was already a factor in his fight with Canelo Alvarez, and Benavidez brings even more of it, standing around 1.80 meters tall and potentially weighing between 88 and 90 kilograms. Veteran boxing journalist Dan Rafael supported Rolly Romero's observations, pointing out how the early rounds between Canelo Alvarez and Crawford were fast-paced and competitive, filled with sharp, explosive exchanges. But as Rafael explained, Crawford's preparation and precise execution allowed him to gradually take control, ultimately outclassing the bigger and more experienced Canelo Alvarez in a way few expected. He praised Crawford's patience and long-term game plan, calling it exceptional, and reminded fans how many doubted him before the fight, believing Canelo's size, power, and championship pedigree would be too much to handle. In the end, Crawford flipped that narrative completely, turning a daunting challenge into a decisive victory through discipline, focus, and relentless dedication, solidifying his place as one of the most complete and determined champions in boxing today.
I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance. So what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him and said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Dan Rafael added that while a rematch between Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford would undoubtedly grab enormous attention, it might not be the most strategic move for either fighter at this point. He suggested that both boxers explore other high-profile opportunities that align more effectively with where they are in their careers. Rafael encouraged Canelo Alvarez to carefully evaluate the benefits and risks of any potential matchup and determine if stepping back into the ring is truly the best decision. As for Crawford, Rafael pointed out that this landmark win has dramatically raised his profile, meaning every top contender will likely be gunning for him next. Yet, he stressed that Crawford needs to consider each opportunity thoughtfully, factoring in the weight class, the scale of the event, and the titles that could be at stake in any future fight.
One, the winner of Eubank, and then two, the Hamza Shiraz. I mean, those types of names. He's got mandatories. Mabili got the draw tonight in a great fight. There's other fighters that have belts and interim belts and blah, blah, blah. So, nobody's going to rush Terence Crawford into his next fight. He'll take his time, and, whatever the next fight is, it's going to be a big one because, his name is even greater now than what happened going into this fight for him. So he beats Canelo Alvarez.
Schofield, who had been certain Canelo Alvarez would emerge victorious on September 13th, admitted he was stunned by Terence Crawford's overwhelming performance. He had anticipated a classic display from Canelo Alvarez, but instead witnessed the Mexican star fall well short of expectations. For the first time, Schofield openly wondered if Canelo Alvarez might be contemplating retirement. Analyzing the fight, he noted that Crawford outclassed Canelo Alvarez in every aspect, dictating the pace, landing precise attacks, and controlling the ring with authority. Crawford steadily built an unassailable lead, delivering a decisive and dominant victory. Yet, Schofield still held on to hope that Canelo Alvarez would continue his career, regroup, and mount a comeback, offering fans another chance to see him reclaim the championship glory he once enjoyed.
I ain't gonna lie, because I've been a fan of Canelo since I was a kid, so my heart, a tear almost came on my eye. I ain't gonna lie, because it felt like, that Canelo is done. But I just think he was a little off that night. I think he can, make a big comeback. But to Crawford, man, he's the greatest of his era. You got to give it to him. Greatest of his era. Nobody's ever done that before. 3-time undisputed. So you got to take your hats off to Crawford. And I was just shocked that he was able to just dismantle Canelo like that, even with the size difference. That just goes to show.
Canelo Alvarez's career stands as a blueprint for what it means to become a modern boxing legend. His path has been shaped by consistently facing the toughest opponents, building international pay-per-view fame, and capturing world titles in 4 different weight divisions. He has proven time and again that he can adjust to nearly any style while delivering punishing counterpunches. From his breakthrough as a teenager in Mexico to iconic wins over globally recognized stars like Miguel Cotto and Sergey Kovalev, Canelo Alvarez has grown into a worldwide icon and one of the sport's most marketable fighters. His remarkable consistency at the elite level earned him respect from champions across generations. Shane Mosley, for instance, stepped into the ring with a young Canelo and noted his composure far beyond his years. Mosley praised Canelo Alvarez's natural power, pinpoint timing, and extraordinary patience, qualities that marked him early on as a future pound-for-pound superstar. From teenage prodigy to one of boxing's most celebrated champions, Canelo Alvarez's journey has always been defined by the calm confidence and veteran-like poise that set him apart from the very start.
Kid, I think he was 21, 22 years old. He had a lot of experience, I should say. He had a lot of boxing experience at his age.
He had 40 or 50 fights at that point, right?
50 fights, but not just that. I'm talking about experience as far as knowledge about being the real experience. Like veteran experience. Like he knew how to counter, he knew how to block and counter, do all these different things. So it wasn't like he was just an ordinary fighter. And I was like, and fighting him, I'm like, wow. He actually knows how to get away from stuff. He knows how to counter. He knows how to trick shots up and say,
Canelo Alvarez's toughness and championship mindset were on full display during his fiercely contested bouts with Gennady Golovkin, 2 fights that helped define his legacy. He also made history by becoming the first undisputed super middleweight champion, defeating Caleb Plant and unifying all 4 major belts. But Canelo Alvarez's impact goes beyond titles. He has consistently embraced high-risk challenges across multiple divisions, never shying away from fights with enormous stakes. His career is a testament to skill, determination, and perseverance, blending the fiery spirit of Mexican boxing with world-class technique. These accomplishments have solidified his place as one of the most exceptional fighters of his generation. Even the gesture of Terence Crawford returning the belts to Canelo Alvarez after his victory underscores the extraordinary respect he commands within the boxing world. David Benavidez has built a reputation as one of the most formidable forces in the super middleweight division, with his 2019 triumph over Anthony Dirrell marking a defining moment in his career. Securing a ninth-round knockout against the season champion to reclaim the WBC title, Benavidez spoke with the poised confidence of a fighter fully aware of his standing among boxing's elite. At just 22 years old, he described the victory as a dream realized, emphasizing the deep personal significance of the championship. He acknowledged Dirrell's relentless pressure and sharp combinations, highlighting how those challenges shaped the flow of each round. For Benavidez, the win served as clear proof of his discipline and growth, demonstrating that his youth, raw power, and unwavering focus made him a dominant force at 168 pounds and a fighter every contender needed to watch out for.
Words can't explain how good I feel. I said I was going to get in here. I was going to win the belt again. Like I said, it was a hard fight. You know, my Dirrell was trying to catch me all night. He was just trying to counter me when I would step in. But you know, we were willing to take the chances, and he didn't catch me at all. It was a hard fight, but you know, my dreams come true. You know, second time fighting on pay-per-view. All my people out there came out to support. So man, it's an amazing feeling. I just can't wait to get back in there again. And
after the electrifying showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, the boxing world is buzzing with speculation about what comes next. Some fans and analysts are pushing for a rematch, while others argue that both fighters should pursue fresh challenges. David Benavidez hasn't held back, openly criticizing Canelo Alvarez and highlighting the ongoing allure of the classic clash between rising talent and established legend. Many observers have even suggested that Canelo Alvarez consider retirement to protect the legacy of his remarkable career. On the other side, Crawford's victory has opened a world of new possibilities. Should he target rising star Virgil Ortiz, chase middle or super middleweight titles, or step into another high-profile pound-for-pound matchup? What's your take? Should Canelo Alvarez hang up the gloves, or rise to face Benavidez? And who should Bud Crawford face next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.